If Sean goes out there and shoots like shit and misses all the birds, do you feel sorry for him and say, "Here you go, sir. You come out hunting today. Here's you some quail."
Well, the best part about it is
This fucking asshole right here.
the best part about it is
You know, not to toot my own horn, but I actually missed 4 cubbies last year. No big deal. No big deal. But I did miss those birds.
you're just trying to save the birds, aren't you? You don't want to hurt the wild
He's
quail.
helping the population.
Yeah.
If we can simulate a wild quail hunt as close as possible and still not hurt, but help the population of wild quail, sign me up.
Yeah.
I'm all about going and hunting wild birds a couple times a year just because it's a reset for me. It's fun. It's great for the dogs because it's hard and it's humbling. It's a humbling experience, especially for me who I'm hunting pretty much 7 days a week during quail season to get the opportunity to go see 2 or 3 coveys in a whole day of hard hunting instead of, 15 to 18 coveys in released bird populations. It's humbling, but it's sacred. You're saving those wild birds, but yet trying to resemble a wild bird hunt. So that's what I would say to those wild bird enthusiasts. But here's the thing. Get out and explore. That's what I want to promote to other people. Go to Three Lakes. Go up to 441. Go to the bombing range where you can actually experience what a wild bird hunt is. I'm good buddies with somebody who has a membership on the bombing range. And last year, he killed 114 wild birds in one season at the bombing range. And he's the record holder for that year. They threw some money and kind of bet on each other on who could kill the most birds. And guess what? The wild birds are thriving. So get out and explore. The next thing that I'll be doing is I'm going out west. I want to go to Texas. I'm going to be going to Nebraska, Nevada to do some wild bird hunts out there. But that's the thing. You got to get started somewhere.
Nebraska, Idaho, Montana. Yeah, now you're talking.
You know, not to toot my own horn, but I actually missed 4 cubbies last year. No big deal. No big deal. But I did miss those birds.
You're just trying to save the birds, aren't you? You don't want to hurt the wild
He's
quail.
helping the population.
Yeah. And the one thing I'll take away from that is the one word that was repetitive throughout everything you just said was hunt. And I want to make that clear to people too. This is a real hunt. This isn't a go out and shoot a bird 5 yards away on the ground.
I want to shoot the one on the left.
Right. This is not what happens out there. And people don't understand that. Oh, you're going on a guided hunt on a preserve or this or that. No, fucking people, wake up. This is not how this goes on. And for everything you just said leads back to conservation. Some of the birds are living, we're improving the habitat, we're spending money, people are buying licenses, they're participating in the fucking sport that puts money back in the industry, and that helps us conserve the resource. And that's a big thing that people don't understand. It's resource conservation. And that's the thing that we always get back to, right? We have interfered.
Yeah.
The migratory patterns of the animals that used to exist don't exist now. And we've put fences up, and we've built shopping centers and these giant monstrosities of residential complexes and all this other shit. So we've decreased the habitat. So it's now our responsibility to conserve the resource. And if we can do that in operations like yours, I think it's a great thing. I mean, the natural habitat of these animals and the animal itself it's not possible for it to like re-inhabit its native land and just go. It's not going to bloom. It's not going to blossom.
Magically going to just appear.
Right. We've got to help it. Right. And so if we go spend $500 to have an afternoon and have stories for the rest of our lives, I think it's f***ing worth it to me.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, and you get to eat because you're taking the food home with you. So, I mean,
Well, and that's another thing too, right? And that's a thing a lot of people don't realize. They think of hunters and
shit's
trophy
not just
hunters.
falling from the sky magically, get on the kitchen table.
That's a lot of the argument that I get online. Well, you're shooting this animal, but where's the meat go? What do you mean, where's it fucking go? It
Fucking,
goes in my
eat the
freezer. It
fucking-
goes right here at the end of the day. That I'm like, I'm not shooting shit and letting it lie. But
People are
that's
ignorant.
well, it is. And you're never going to stop a portion of it. But I heard a stat the other day. It was like there are 1.5% of the population. You can fact check me on this because you heard it too. 1.5% of the population are hunters. 1.2% of the population are anti-hunters. There's a huge gap in the middle that aren't either. So if we can promote and teach this giant group in the middle about what we do and why we're so passionate about it, we can grow it for the next generation and the next generation. So now you've got a daughter, right? Um, you're gonna have grandkids. Actually, you've already got grandkids, and you want to teach them, and you want to encourage them. Well, if there's no habitat left, if there's no hunting left, what are you gonna do? It's our job as parents, right, to promote this and show them there's a different way. You can't just watch leftist media and say, "Oh my God, we got to protect this fucking bear. We got to do this or that." What are you doing to protect the bear? You're picking up garbage a half a day out of the year out of a state park. That's not doing shit for. What are you doing for conservation? You're not buying a hunting license. You're not buying. So we go back to the Pittman Robertson Act every time because it's a great thing.
Yeah.
So last year it was 1.2 billion that was attributed 1.2 billion, right? I believe it was the number, something like that. That goes back into hunting every year from an act that from a piece of legislation that was enacted back in 1937 that people don't even know exists. So it's essentially a tax, a tariff on anything hunting related, hunting outdoor gear. So it's guns, it's ammo, it's bows, it's arrows, it's camping gear that you don't even see when you go buy this shit that goes back into conservation programs in the United States. And in the United States, we have what's called the North American Conservation, or no, it's I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the North American Conservation
Yeah.
Model, which by far, and you've hunted a lot of countries now, is the best by far because all these dollars go back. And the one thing the US has that nobody else has, we have public land. We have places to go for essentially free for people to get outdoors, enjoy the outdoors, and hunt if they want to. And if we lose that, where the fuck are we? Like, there's just, I mean, we've seen
You're going to
it.
Burger King. That's where they're
Somebody
fucking going.
somebody still had to kill that fucking cow.
I know.
But like even, for us and stuff like that, like on there, like how important is your, you manage these 1,000 acres on there, how important, cause it's not just the birds on there, like your man, like, like maybe talk a little bit about like,
The habitat improvement kind of
you
thing.
guys talk, like just like, hey, listen, I'm actually like, I care about these quail, but I also care about on there like the saw palmettos on there and like all the other stuff that goes around where they're at.
Yeah, so we spend pretty much all of summer working the land for the quail fields. It's burning schedules, it's chopping, it's aerating. One of the biggest things for quail habitat is it needs to be burned. If it can be burned every year, even every other year, the bombing range is always burning. That's the biggest thing for restoration of the quail property, the habitat that needs to be done. I was out there this summer digging water holes for the dog and quail. I mean, quail need water too. Yes, they can get dew off the ground, but what about the mornings that they don't have it? So we're digging water holes, we're chopping, it's time on the tractor, it's burning schedules. And apart from that, I think last year we did 5 tons of quail feed to put out during the season. And again, it's a natural seed, it's a milo seed where birds can actually find their own native grown milo. We're just stimulating that population for them to succeed.
10,000 pounds.
Yes, it is insane. That is the biggest part of quail. They have to have something to eat. It's just a in-between method for them to survive. From being in a pen to learning to be in the wild, they have to have a food source.
And meanwhile, Karen goes to the ISPCA and spends $5 one time on the Sarah McLaughlin fucking video and thinks she's doing something.
And I was inspired by Brant that y'all had on the other day from Brooklyn. up there.
Brent McDuff.
Yes, he
Oh.
was awesome. And like, you have to think about yourself and your kids and your grandkids on just being a consumer for the rest of their life. Like, for me as a hunter, that's my chance to not be a consumer of just grocery stores. Where is my meat coming from? He went to the point where he hated hunting, was all about saving animals, to he for himself went and worked in a butcher shop so he could see how his meat was being processed and cut and what it looked like, to now he had taxidermy all in his office, and that's awesome. So just not being a consumer for the rest of your life and taking charge, and that's what we embody as a hunter.
You know what I call that? I call that being educated.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's what I call that.
No, and Brant was a great example, and that's a great point too. He was, I mean, to take somebody, and he grew up, pretty much at one point in time, he was an anti-hunter, and
Yeah.
kind of made the switch. And he not only learned it for himself, but he's educating other people about it and the role that hunting plays. And when you go to the meat thing, and that is spot on, I think that hits home easier than anything else. When you're trying to talk to people about hunting and what it does, you can go to the grocery store and you can buy that chicken that's stuffed full of, all this other shit and these cow. You go and harvest this whitetail, this quail, this pheasant, gator, whatever it is. That is the best meat that you can you're talking about no hormones, no this, no that. That is the most pure meat you'll ever get in your life. And for people to think that it's okay to go to their fucking fresh market or their Publix and buy the shit and, oh yeah, well, but they're anti-hunting. Well, somebody killed that
It's the
animal, by the
same
way.
thing, just different way.
Well,
You
it's a
know what I mean?
different,
It's still so just no different than a cow, right? That's hunting still, right? Somebody's raising that. No different than quail hunting.
well, a
The-
cow, to me, a cow is not hunting. Now,
Well, no,
that
I'm
is
just
not
saying
the
in
same.
general, the long term piece of it, right? It's like you're still raising that. It's still being butchered. It's
Well-
still you're going to eat
Well,
it,
what
right?
Brant talked about was the importance of knowing where the animal came from. And he talked about, processing cattle and how that works versus going out and harvesting it yourself. Not to mention the nutritional benefits from doing so, but the actual act of doing
Right.
so. And that's important. When you go out and you earn it and you're doing it for yourself, it makes it all worthwhile. And there's just this appreciation and like this aha moment that happens when you're finally able to do it. And a lot of people say, "Oh, it's free to go hunt." No, it's first off, it's not free. We've had this
Well, what
conversation
fucking life is free. So.
several comparatively speaking, it's not close to free. Yeah, hunting is an expensive sport. But I don't know that like for me personally, like I'm not gonna not go quail hunt with Austin because well that's $500 and I'm gonna go buy a rib loin instead of going hunting.
Go to the
No,
grocery store.
right. Well, that's the option. But you
You're gonna
want to
spend $500.
okay, so you're gonna go buy a rib loin, or do you want to go hunt with Austin and with a group of you guys, you're each taking 10 birds back with you, and then you can feed you and your family and everybody else. I want the quail. I want the gator hunt. I want the whitetail hunt, and that's what people don't understand. And I think if I can get somebody that I want to say a non-hunter, right? And I can get them and show them, hey, try this axis deer, try this black buck. And you've had success doing that with Gabby and other people too, trying
Yeah.
this wild game. Like all of a sudden, oh shit, maybe somebody that I'm not really for hunting after they try, they're like, oh, wait, maybe there's something here. And all of that goes back into conservation. Every dollar we spend goes back into it. And promoting people like Austin and his operation, it adds fuel to the fire to help it grow and to continue to get back to where it once was. I don't know if we'll ever get there, but my hope is that my son, who's I don't know, what is he, a month old yesterday?
So do you think going back a long time, do you think it was ever there?
What was ever there?
Just the actual you're talking about the getting it there to where people can see the hunting piece and understand.
Well,
do you think it was ever there?
well,
Go back in time.
Well, let's ask Austin. He's an outfitter on there. Like you said, you talked about like you vacuum seal and everything like that. Like on there, I feel like hunters get or even outfitters get a bad rap. Like you come in here and you shoot this animal and stuff like that. Like, but there's never a talk about like, hey, I'm gonna give you, these vacuum sealed packs on us you can take back and enjoy. They're not the birds that you shot, or it's not the animal that you shot, but it is, wild game on there. Like, how do you incorporate that into
Do you do that?
Yeah, 100%. So, for example, right?
If Sean goes out there and shoots like shit and misses all the birds, do you feel sorry for him and say, "Here you go, sir. You come out hunting today. Here's you some quail."
Well, the best part about it is
This fucking asshole right here.
the best part about it is we're a pretty small operation. at the end of the hunt, I'm cleaning those people's birds pretty much in front of them while they are doing whatever they want to, getting cleaned up, so that I can vacuum seal them for the next group, so they see it. It's all right there in one spot. The first time somebody ever kills a quail, all first thing I do is I break open the quail, kind of breast it, tear the feathers off, and show them what it is. Like, hey, this is the
So you're
breast.
educating.
Exactly. This is what you're going to be eating. This is pretty much the biggest piece of meat on the bird. If you want to gut it, take the wings off and get 2 bites on the thigh. Those are probably the 2 best bites you'll have, but that's kind of what we're doing. I love showing people that. All pretty much on probably 50% of my birds, I'll open up the bird and see what they're eating. They have their sack of food right here on their neck. You can break open their crawl and see what seeds, Bahia seed, Milo, what, because I want to know that. I want to know, hey, how can I best prepare this land for what they're already eating? So that's the biggest sign for me, seeing what some of these birds are actually taking in their body. But for me, it's also a style, right? Big thing that I've kind of been seeing is, and a big part of Bird Dog Strong Outfitters is I want to promote the next generation to continue this tradition of quail hunting. When you're going on a quail hunt, you're promoting your kids, whoever you're bringing, to one, get outdoors and exercise. Get on your feet, don't get on the couch. You're getting your own food. You're learning something new. You're interacting with these dogs and you're actually interacting with other people. They're not on their phones when they're out there. And I'm not like old grandpa about it, telling people to get off their phones, but there's so much going on. It's controlled chaos. They have no other choice but to be just
Active.
aware of
Yeah.
what's going on. So they're not on their phones. They're having a great time, and then they're taking food home with them. So like, what are you teaching the people that you're bringing out there? And a big thing that I've been seeing about this next generation is there's so much information that we can have on our phone. People are actually taking notice of what they're putting in their bodies. And it may not seem like it. People may seem like people are just scrolling on reels, or kids, this generation is just scrolling on their phones. They're actually concerned or worried about what they're putting in their bodies. Preservatives, steroids, all this stuff. There's a lot of companies that are coming out showing what actual ingredients that they're putting in on their packages. It's insane. It's all over the stores. It's all over your social media of companies that are just health aware. So you taking your kids and actually showing them that is a style and a tradition that they're implementing into the people that they're bringing up.
Well, and I asked Brant the question when he was on, about the importance of social media and what we may or may not be doing wrong. And I think in that kind of goes back into what you were just saying. I think as hunters, we've traditionally done a poor job in showing the entirety of the hunt. It's too easy to show the grip and grins, right? Versus, okay, we got up at 3 in the morning, we drove here, we did this, what the farmer landowner did to propagate this hunt, what went on during the hunt, what went on after the hunt, how we processed the meat, how we took it back home, how we ate the meat afterward. And I think, as hunters, I think we can do a better job of doing that. And in our content, especially the last 2 years in Africa, what we've done is we've taken it from hunt all the way through the consumption of the meat, to show people that hey, this isn't, we're just not shooting
What it
shit and
does
leaving.
from A to Z.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And that's important. And it's so easy for people to show, they'll go out there and they'll tie up 10 quail and hold it up and take a picture and post it on social media. Here's an idea, and maybe do that, but put, like what Brand said, put 5 or 6 other pictures in there. Okay, you brought it home, you've processed the meat, now you're cooking it, now you're eating it. Show the entire process of the event versus just the grip and grin, and I think he really had something there when he did that, and I've been guilty of that shit too. I
No, we
mean,
all have.
we all
We
have.
all have.
Yeah,
I mean,
we've done that. It's so easy and that instant gratification, and we're showing it on social media, and we're great doing it, and, "Hey, look at this buck we just shot," or look, whatever the animal was, right? But if you show the whole process, so instead of just putting a picture in there, show the getting up in the morning at 03 a.m., right? Having that first
or
cup of
spending
coffee.
quality time with a family member, or
Yeah. Yeah, you're taking
right,
your kid out there
right.
hunting, show some pictures of that, then the harvest, then the preparation, then the consumption of it. I think that makes a big difference.
It does.
And like
Yeah.
once again, we got off on a giant
No, it's a
tangent, but
good tangent though. Even in quail hunting, you'll see it, which is sad.
Yeah. They don't think
S-
about that stuff
Some
though.
operations will
Yeah.
have pictures of people who have shot the most quail
'Cause
that
they're numbers.
season. Oh yeah,
They're-
because
they're
which I
people or
mean,
numbers.
they
At the end of the day,
they
they're
get
numbers.
paid to shoot more, so they're going to promote that, and it takes away. I've been on a hunt where all we're trying to do is kill as many
Numbers.
birds as possible, and it takes away from the tradition, and it takes away from the hunt. You're
Takes
exhausted
away from the
afterwards.
reason.
You're not out there talking. You're out there sprinting after birds, and it's sad. It's sad.
And I think, I see a lot of that stuff from Argentina, with the
Mhm.
dove hunts.
Oh yeah.
And that's a big thing with them, like numbers. Oh, we killed 1,200
Well,
today.
they get
All right.
paid per shell
Well,
that
everything's
gets
about
shot.
$1 and everything's
Mhm.
about a number. I mean, that's what it is.
Well, I think in any kind of hunting, there's two like, point like fun aspects of it. There is the shot, of course, and there's that fun of the shot and everything and stuff like, hey, I put the work in, I finally got it done on there. And then there's the second part of you like hanging out with your buddies on there over like this giant plate of like fried deer or fried quail or like whatever, and you just like hanging out, and you're just like drinking beer, like enjoying a fun time, like hanging out with like your best friends on there over something that you guys harvested and everything, and like that's like like that's so much fun to me. Like,
But every hunt is different for everybody. It hits everybody a little harder.
Well,
Yeah.
but I think from the
different situations.
the
you know what I'm saying?
social media perspective is it's the instant gratification that people get from posting that photo, that reel, that whatever, right? And unfortunately, we've done this to ourselves. We've made it now, and you've seen it in our own content. If we post something that is, maybe the meal after the harvest with a picture of something and then the meal, that doesn't get nearly as many views or likes as if we showed the animal getting shot in the face. Like you shot a black impala in the face, 2 years ago on accident.
Yeah.
However, that fucking blew up. That thing went instantly viral, and oh my God, holy shit. Mike talks about fucking snapper and shows a reel of something, and he gets 500,000 views instantly.
It's
That's
the dumb shit, right?
It's the instant gratification. And so that's the problem, right? How do you balance that? And if you're in the content creation niche, if you're in the social media niche, and unfortunately, all of us have to use social media now if we want to be productive. We don't have a choice. That's the way it is. So we have to find a balance between that instant gratification of that kill shot, that moment, and propagating it towards, what that actually equated to. In that, okay, that's not just a trigger squeeze. There is, okay, here's the harvest, here's the cleaning, here's the preparation,
What's the
here's
purpose?
right.
What's the fucking purpose, right?
But I can do that for myself, and nobody's going to look at it, right? So there really needs to be a movement over the next several years where people get away from that instant gratification. And unfortunately, the way the industry is set up right now, it's not going to fucking happen.
Yes.
There's zero fucking chance. You've got giant companies that are fucking paying people to wear a fucking piece of camo or a fucking boot to show a
That
grip
don't
and
know anything
grin
about it.
with an animal with their fucking camo on, and it's hashtag this is the best camo ever, this is the best this is the best
I
that.
still want to say something right now.
say
I'm
it.
gonna be fucking good.
Say it.
No, because that puts a lot of people.
I don't give a fuck.
No,
Say it.
I'm not gonna say this.
Are you gonna throw me under the bus? Go ahead.
No, it's not you. There's just certain. We will see.